A woman with no friends is a dangerous woman. Have you ever wondered what happens when a person is isolated from the world around them? The consequences might not be what you expect. Somewhere between independence and loneliness lies a powerful force. A woman, or anyone for that matter, who stands alone might be more dangerous than you'd think. But it's not because she's bitter or angry. It's because she's learned something that many others don't get to experience, the art of relying only on herself. In today's world, we're told that we need a large circle of friends, constant social interaction, and validation from others. But what if the opposite is true? What if those who stand alone, especially women, are actually the most dangerous people in the room? Let's break this down. It's easy to look at a woman with no friends and feel sorry for her. You may even think she's struggling with some social issue, or maybe she's just unlucky when it comes to forming connections. But here's the thing. Some women who are isolated choose this path intentionally. They're not avoiding friendships because they can't make them. They've outgrown the people around them, or they've simply stopped needing them. Let's explore why this can make a woman powerful and even dangerous. We live in a world where human connection is seen as a measure of success. Social media is a perfect example. The more followers, the more friends, the more likes, the better. It's as if we are supposed to believe that a large circle of friends equates to a fulfilling life. But in reality, that's not always the case. In fact, it can often lead to distraction, drama, and unnecessary energy drain. When you stop seeking validation from others and rely on yourself, you enter a space of complete clarity and self-awareness. That's the starting point of a powerful transformation. A woman who has no friends has, in essence, mastered the ability to be completely self-sufficient. She knows what she wants, and more importantly, she knows who she is without the influence of others. This gives her an edge that many people can't match. But don't mistake solitude for weakness. There's a strength in being alone. And it's the kind of strength that doesn't need to prove itself to anyone. When a woman is independent, she isn't tethered by societal expectations or the drama that often comes with friendships. She can think clearly, make decisions without outside influence, and act without hesitation. She's a force of nature. Now, you might be thinking, isn't that a little extreme? Surely having friends is important, right? Absolutely. Having a healthy circle of friends can be empowering and fulfilling. But what if, instead of seeking validation through friendships, we focused on our own growth? What if we stopped relying on others to fill emotional gaps and instead turned inward to cultivate our own strength? The idea of a dangerous woman isn't about a woman who's angry or vengeful. It's about the kind of woman who's unstoppable. The kind who isn't afraid to go her own way, even if it means standing alone. And that's what makes her dangerous. A woman who knows her worth and doesn't need external validation is a woman who has control over her life. She's not afraid to speak her mind, pursue her goals, or make difficult decisions. She won't settle for anything less than what she deserves because she knows that her self-worth isn't dependent on the opinions of others. But there's also a deeper layer to this. When a woman has no friends, she is often forced to rely on her own instincts. She learns to trust herself completely, and in doing so, she becomes more attuned to the world around her. She can spot manipulation, deceit, and toxicity from a mile away. She won't be easily swayed by false promises or empty gestures. This ability to navigate through life with a clear sense of self makes her dangerous, not in a violent sense, but in the sense that she's a woman who cannot be controlled, manipulated, or easily defeated. And that's why a woman with no friends is, in many ways, a force to be reckoned with. But let's dig deeper. Why is it that some women can embrace this path while others can't? What makes the difference between a woman who chooses solitude out of necessity and one who does so by choice? The answer lies in how they view the world around them. Women who have experienced betrayal, heartbreak, or toxic friendships often reach a point where they no longer see the need to please others. They learn that their value isn't defined by how many people are in their social circle, but by how they view themselves. These women have seen the darker sides of human nature. They've been hurt, misjudged, and taken advantage of. And as a result, they've developed an immunity to the pressures of society's expectations. They no longer feel the need to belong. They learn how to thrive on their own terms. The lesson here is not to encourage loneliness, but to embrace the strength that comes with standing alone. Being alone doesn't mean being weak or vulnerable. It means you've created a space where you can think, plan, and execute without being bogged down by outside influences. Here's where the true power lies. When you stop needing the approval of others, you can't be controlled. You're free to create your own destiny. You become the master of your own story, not a character in someone else's narrative. But what about the women who still feel the pressure to conform, to fit in, or to seek validation through friendships? The truth is, they're not necessarily weak, but they're still under the influence of societal expectations. And while there's nothing wrong with having friends or seeking connection, it's important to recognize that real power comes from within. So if you're someone who feels the pull of societal pressures, consider this. What would happen if you stopped seeking approval from others? What would happen if you embraced solitude, focused on your own growth, and stopped caring what others thought of you? The key takeaway here is that a woman with no friends isn't inherently dangerous because she's lonely or bitter. She's dangerous because she's discovered her own worth and no longer feels the need to prove herself to anyone. She's learned to trust herself and her instincts, and that makes her unstoppable. To all the women out there who might be struggling with loneliness, remember this. Being alone doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're learning to depend on yourself. And that's a skill that will serve you for the rest of your life. The more you invest in your own growth and self-worth, the less you'll feel the need for validation from others. And that, my friend, is where true power lies. So what's the next step? If you're ready to embrace your own strength and learn how to stand alone, start by focusing on your own growth. Learn to trust yourself, invest in your personal development, and stop seeking validation from anyone but yourself. And if you found this video helpful, hit that subscribe button for more insights on how to grow, become stronger, and embrace your true self. Check out our next video where we explore more about unlocking your inner power